All right, so in this video, I want to do a brief reaction to a young brother by the name of King Randall down in Albany, Georgia. For those of you that don't know, Albany, Georgia is to the southwest of Atlanta. It's about 2.5, 3 hours south of Atlanta in the middle of farm country. It's not a very talked about city, but it is part of Georgia. It's about 70% black, a little bit over 70% black. It's a very economically depressed part of the state. It's a lot of poverty, a lot of crime. They're actually a losing population. And this young brother by the name of King Randall, for those of you that don't know, he has a school that he opened up years ago called the X for Boys. And he specifically teaches, mentors, and brings in young black males, mostly young black males, because there are some white and Hispanic students at his school, but he's trying to save these boys from becoming statistics. He's actually a pillar of good for the community. And you got black folks hating on this man because he chose to do a podcast with a white conservative male by the name of Glenn Beck. For those of you that don't know, Glenn Beck is a former Fox News contributor. I used to watch him years ago. I still watch him every now and then. He has his own media network, like a lot of former news hosts used to. People that used to work for news agencies now, they kind of do their own thing because everybody's got a podcast now. It's so easy to do. And if you already had a big name before you started your podcast, it's much easier for you to gain followers because you already had notoriety before you became a podcaster. So check out why King Randall is upset, and I'll come back with my commentary.
So I got Negroes mad at me for my January 6th comments because I went on a white podcaster's podcast and talked about what I do. First of all, let's start from the top. I don't actually care about January 6th. I never have. I don't care about it. I appreciate that they had the balls to go do that for something that they believed in, something that we don't have. We don't have the balls to go do that. I said that multiple times. We had many black people under there like, oh, I agree with you so much, but why you had to go tell it to a white person? What does it matter? If the truth is the truth, what does it matter if somebody white, black, or Latino or whatever freaking agrees? It don't matter. We just say the stupidest stuff for no reason. Oh, the white people can't agree. Like, y'all have made being black just solely being contrary to white people. If white people say, hey, don't jump off of that bridge or you're going to die, y'all just going to go jump because white people said the opposite. Like, what's wrong with y'all? I don't get that. Like, then on top of that, people don't understand it. Like, oh, you ain't got no study of slavery and you don't understand the black plight and blah. Bro, I was more pro-black than all y'all. I roll with the NOI. Farrakhan used to be my screensaver, etc. My actual study of racism and study of slavery and study of Jim Crow and me going to Africa, that stuff actually removed more empathy for the black community. I'm sorry it did, because I saw people in Jim Crow in the face of actual racism. I saw people in slavery in the face of actual racism still be successful. I'm reading slave narratives and these slaves have better vocabularies than we had.
Now, y'all keep in mind that King Randall is 26 years old. He actually has been doing this X for Boys Academy for a few years now. He gets his school funded by private donations entirely. And like he just said in that little opening monologue, it's just depressing. It's disturbing. It's at this point, it's flat out annoying when you're dealing with some black people. As y'all, if anybody's watching my content, I've been stating for a long time that we need to have separation in the black community. Like, it's too many low brain power, low frequency Negroes on social media running their mouth and in real life that's just talking just to be talking. Like, a lot of these Negroes don't have critical thinking skill. A lot of these people don't even know anything about black history. And as a person who is I'm not a connoisseur of history like some people may be, but I'm a person who is well versed in history now at my age, because when I was young, when I was like in elementary school and middle school, I thought history was boring. I hated it. But as I got older, I started to have an appreciation for history because the events of the past shape the events that are going on today. The past definitely has an impact on the present, and the present will have an impact on the future. We all know that. So when you look at the black people from way back in the day, during the antebellum period, during slavery, people like Nat Turner, people like Harriet Tubman, people like Frederick Douglass, that we actually can do a lot of research on and that actually were very, very impactful during that very, very dark period in American history, we can have a great appreciation for what they did. And if they were able to overcome and do great things during a very, very horrible time period for black people, it's really hard to have sympathy for today's modern black people. But let me continue.
Slaves writing better than we do. I went to Africa. I've seen kids sleeping on the ground with no sewage, no running water or nothing, and they work circles around the adults in America. Like, I don't get it. Like, y'all keep talking about study all this stuff. I'm studying it, and it's removing more empathy and excuses for me. Like, it made me want to work even harder for my community because I have all these resources. I have all these things I have access to. I can get up. I got Wi-Fi. I got a bed. I got somewhere to sleep. I got a place to eat. Like, I don't understand, like, all the excuses that we keep giving about what we can't do. So much access to everything. And I don't understand the issue. Then everybody like, oh, why you go on white podcast and talk about this? I'm going to go on whoever podcast. I do not turn down any podcast. I don't care whose podcast it is. I'm going to go, don't care. Because if you believe in my message, it don't matter if somebody white, black, or whatever. I'm going to go share what I believe. And everybody's like, oh, well, we should keep these things in-house with the black community. Well, where's the secret meeting room for black people to listen? You let me know where the secret meeting room is, and I'll go come say the same things. I've been saying the same stuff for the past 6 years, and now that white people are getting a hold to it, or people that y'all don't like, that y'all claim are racist, then y'all like, oh, you only doing this to appease them. Who cares, bro? I don't care who agrees. I'm going to continue sharing what I believe in. It's like soon as somebody black doesn't think like the Gen Pop of black people, then we got to get canceled. Do understand, look at Gen Pop black folk. Go look in your major black areas and black community or whatever. None of them are thinking clearly. Our community bears witness to the way we think. As a man thinketh, so is he. Why would I want to think like Gen Pop black people? We are lost in 1,000 areas. No, I don't want to think like them. Everything that Gen Pop black people think, I try to think the opposite. Because what are we doing? Like, and that's how I've become successful in everything that we're doing for these kids. We've gotten kids out of homes of molestation. We've fed kids. We help parents with they light bills. We make sure parents got washers and dryers. We make sure kids got underwear, deodorant, etc. This is stuff we do all the time that's not getting posted. All y'all see me do is like work with them outside on cars. Y'all don't see how we helping their parents. You don't see how we helping black folks all the time. I live in a 77% black town. Like, this is all I do is help black people. But because I gotta go share what I go share what I believe in, now I gotta get canceled. Bump all the work. But y'all go out here and share people like Dr. Umar, who ain't did nothing for the black community at all, but run his goddamn mouth and run these podcasters' money up. That's all he do. You keep inviting them places, and bro scammed us. Bro scam a lot of people. Bro ain't open a school or nothing. We done walk circles around Dr. Umar, but because he say stuff y'all want to hear, you keep sharing them. People like, oh, we love you, but he's more empowering. You still ain't did shit. Like, that's the thing. Like, people empowering you and motivating you, and you ain't doing nothing.
I mean, he's exactly correct. I mean, like he said, people like Dr. Umar tell you what you want to hear. He tell you what sound good, but Umar ain't did nothing. All Umar doing is going to go get a bag. And like this young man said, they out here helping these young kids. They helping their parents pay these bills. A lot of these young boys come from single parent households. A lot of these young boys are victims of molestation. A lot of these young boys are headed towards a life of destruction because it starts in the home. And that's the number one issue that we keep on running away from in the black community, is that the core of all the problems in the black community comes from broken homes, single mother-led homes, lack of fathers in the home. And this young man is being a mentor to these young boys. And I'm just going to go ahead and put his information out there for those of y'all that are not aware of who he is. Like I said, many of you have probably heard of him. He went viral a few years ago when he appeared on the Roland Martin Unfiltered show. And Roland Martin was grilling him about voting rights. And he was like, dude, I'm not even focused on that. Like, I'm doing work in my community. But his school is called the X for Boys. Y'all donate to this man's school. Y'all help this young brother out, man. Like, this dude is out here doing real work. This is what we need more of. We need more young black men like him. And we just got to, ignore the low vibrational, low IQ Negroes who just be talking just to be talking. But this man is really out here changing lives and helping these young boys, because if it wasn't for him, where would they be going in Albany, Georgia? Like I said, it's already a war zone down there. He said 77% black. I thought it was a little bit over 7. That's almost 80% black. And we know how these black majority towns, cities, whatever, operate. They full of crime. They full of corruption, right? Homicide rate through the roof, right? Jackson, Mississippi. I talk about this all the time. Baltimore, and I've been to most of these places. Detroit, Birmingham, right? Birmingham right next door to my state. I go to Birmingham all the time. It's ridiculous. Cleveland. But let me finish up.
That's why I don't, again, work for the major black community. I don't do that. I do my work for the city of Albany. And because my kids are going to have to grow up here one day. And I want to make sure our city is in a great place. Trying to do this whole overarching work for the black community is not going to work. If anybody's selling you that, you might as well hang it up. I completely vibe with Charleston White when he says you'll be a black community activist for so long. I did all the talking points. I used to say, being black was the most important thing. And Farrakhan was my screensaver and all that. Like, I did all the black stuff. Trust me, you ain't seen I used to have the Kufi, the Ankh, all that. You couldn't be more pro-black than I was. And as I was working in the community and telling people all this work we need to do, that Malcolm X told us to do, that Fred Hampton told us to do, nobody actually wants to do the work. They just want to hear people talk about it. So when I actually tried to get out here and do this work and nobody actually wanted to assist, that's where my freaking thinking came from. Because nobody wanted to actually do the work. When we had slaves, grandparents, etc., who went through actual racism, be successful anyway. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. My study of racism, my study of slavery, Jim Crow, etc., that removed my empathy for the black community. That's why I solely do work for the city of Albany and not just for black people in general. Then y'all keep saying, oh, stop going on white podcasts. And I'm like, well, the black ones ain't inviting me on, or they ignoring our messages. Oh, that's because you only talk about, you give white talking points. No, if you bring my ass on the Breakfast Club or any of those other black podcasts, I did so much work that I'd be able to explain. This would remove all the excuses for Negroes. I've been doing this since I was 19 years old, out of my freaking house. If you bring me on black podcasts, it's actually just going to show the lack of work that all these major people could have been doing. I've been doing this with pennies for years. You got all these major folks with millions of dollars that ain't did a piece of the work that I've done in the black community that y'all watch all the time. But I've done so much work in the black community and I get ignored or talk trash about because I don't parrot y'all talking points. But if y'all want me to go on the black podcast, go tell them to bring me on. If you want me to go in there and talk about what I'm doing, tell them to bring me on. I'm not finna beg them to go on their show. The only major black podcast I've been on, I think, was 85 South, and they still have yet to release their interview. It's been a year or whatever. So I ain't got nothing bad to say about it. It was a great interview. I don't see why they hadn't released it, but it was great. But other than that, you let them know to bring me on. But I'm not turning down nobody's podcast. I don't care if Trump asks me to come on. I don't care if a freaking Ku Klux Klan member asks me to come on their podcast. I'm going to come and I'm going to talk about what I believe in. If I agree with the person or not, it don't matter. I'm going to go on whatever podcast. So if you don't like it, unfollow. I don't care.
So that's the end of King Randall's rant about black people whining about him going on the Glenn Beck podcast. Look at what Glenn Beck put on his website. The Gen Z King keeping Georgia boys off the streets. This is Glenn Beck's website. And he's actually giving King Randall props. He's highlighting the work that King Randall is doing, a white man. And as a black conservative who has been a conservative for many years now, I must tell y'all that I've got nothing but love from the white conservative community. A lot of the black conservatives that are doing things, and even if you're not a black conservative, if you're just a black person that's trying to put in work for your community, a lot of white conservatives will support you and donate money to you. Remember that Mississippi Valley State Band that went to Trump's inauguration to perform? A lot of Trump supporters, a lot of white Trump supporters paid for them to get out there. And it is goofy, sellout, sassy black men like this, Roland Martin, who always want to tear the black person down if they're not speaking like a black Democrat. That's what this is all about. If you are a black male or a black female and you're conservative and you're open with your conservatism, then the black Democrat attack dogs like Roland Martin and crew, Bakari Sellers and Angela Rye and all the Van Jones of the world, they come out to attack you because you're not on the Democrat plantation. Joy Reid, right? Y'all go look at the interview that King Randall did with Roland Martin a couple years ago. I think it was about 3-4 years ago. That's when he went viral. That's the first time King Randall went viral because he stood his ground against Roland Martin. But I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about Roland Martin. We already know how Roland Martin gets down. But look at these comments. Stop listening to you after you said they had the balls to do what we couldn't. Oh boy, black people would have been shot dead by the hundreds had they attempted to do something like that. You're not a serious person. So basically, this dude is on that old Negroes are helpless foolishness. And this is a black male. 19 Keys, who's a so-called conscious leader. When a leader truly understands their people, they naturally empathize with their challenges and strengths, fostering better communication and a stronger relationship with them. We have never been a weak people. We never stop fighting. I don't really care for 19 Keys. A lot of people like him, but whatever. A white woman put, can you come to Birmingham, Alabama? Not even kidding. The parents have turned young black men over to the gangs. Kids aren't attending school. They are doing social media live videos showing their switches and shooting each other. Gang wars. It's so bad here. And she telling no lies. Birmingham is off the chain. Another person put, dear real black Americans, make sure you stay clear of coons like this. This man hates himself and his people. You can hear it through his rhetoric. He will try to lead you also down a road of self-hatred. He a coon. These type of Negroes are trash, and they're like a black female in the icon. I mean, the avatar. Another black woman put, I completely agree with you. The more I study black history and reflect on the current state of black communities, the less I identify with the label pro-black. I was more than happy to let go of that Twitter title and focus on doing real, meaningful work in my local community. Shout out to her for keeping it real. Another person put, I'm going to be brutally honest. The more pro-black you are, the more you begin to lose empathy for our people, because deep inside, you realize in this post-civil rights era, our issues are self-inflicted in most cases. I guess they had a typo there. But yeah, that's what it is. So on these next couple slides, this is the X for Boys Academy that he runs the school. There were a couple of people arrested. I think this was about 2 years ago. They vandalized his school. One of the suspects was a black male, and I think the other suspect was a white female. If she ain't white, she's super, super duper light skinned. But she looked like a white female when I saw the first photos of them being put in handcuffs. She got a hoodie on, but she's a big back woman, whoever she was. And I'm going to show you a picture of what they both look like. You can't really see the female's face, though. But anyway, this is what they did. They broke into the school after the school was closed for the day, because they don't sleep in the school overnight. And they vandalized the school. They just tore it up. They threw stuff all on the ground, knocking holes in the wall. He had to spend God knows how much money to clean everything up and get it back up and running. But yeah, this is what was done by people in his community, because they can't stand to see a young brother doing what he's doing. And of course, Albany's, like he said, 77% black. So that means it's an overwhelmingly Democrat city. That's the young black male who was arrested. King Randall actually caught them at the school, and he held them at gunpoint and waited for the Albany police to come and arrest them. That's the young black male who helped vandalize this young brother's school. And that's the female. Like, as you can look at her body, she looks to be Caucasian, but she very well could be very, very light-skinned or even biracial. But that's beside the point. The brother has been putting in the work. He loves his community. That's a portrait of him at his school. He went through a lot just to buy the building. And I know King Randall in real life. I've met him and talked to him on a couple of occasions at a couple of conservative events and across the state of Georgia. And he's a good brother, man. He's a real cool dude. I got a lot of respect for him. And the best thing for black people to do that really want to see something happen in a positive way and be, impactful to your community, your local communities, you got to start small at the grassroots level, man. We've been talking about fixing the black community for years and years and years and years and years, decades and decades and decades, and nothing ever changes. And that's because the people that are supposed to be our leaders, they don't care about the community. All they care about is getting elected and having money and power, and they screw us over every single time. So you have to be the change that you want to see. You have to get out there and put in the work and go from there, man. And we just got to start partnering up with black people like King Randall. If you want to follow him on X, his handle is called King Randall 1. Randall is Randall. He also goes by New Emerging King. Like I said, donate to his school if you never heard of it. And this last little video clip is actually what his vision is for the next few years for his school, for these young at-risk youth. He teaches these boys how to, take care of their hygiene. He teaches these boys how to work on cars. He teaches them how to conduct themselves at a traffic stop with the police. Like, his videos are all over Twitter and Instagram. He has hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter and Instagram. And I don't know whatever social media he on, but this young man is out here changing lives for the better, man. Teaching these young boys how to dress and have manners at the table when they eating their food and all that, man. So he bought an old school that was in bad condition. They weren't doing nothing with it, and the city of Albany has been trying to put up roadblocks every step of the way because he not on Team Democrat. And he don't even identify as a Republican, but he certainly don't identify as a Democrat. If I had to guess, I would say he was a Republican or conservative, but he don't really even do politics like that. He about the work. You know what I'm saying? And he got kids, black kids. So you can't call him no sellout. He got black kids. He helping black kids out. And he mostly saving young black men's lives. So if you not part of the plantation, that's what the haters gonna do. They're gonna call you a coon and a sellout and all this goofy stuff. But anyway, man, y'all check out this little video. Support the young brother. And like I said, wherever you live in the United States of America, if you black, or even if you're not black, if you want to see change happen in these local communities, man, put in the work. Do what you got to do. F the haters. Let them talk, because 99% of the people talking ain't doing nothing but running their mouth. So shout out to King Randall. Keep pushing, brother. And I'll catch you on the next one.
In 2022, we opened Life Preparatory School for boys. This school was opened with the goal and the vision to teach our young men what they should know. Teaching children how to grow food, work on cars, work on houses. So many young men have been affected by our school today. And as we've had so much success, we've also had struggles. We've had our school vandalized. We've not been able to fulfill and give the experiences that our parents and our students have been looking for. But we've also succeeded. We've saved children. We've gotten children out of homes of abuse. We've gotten children out of homes of molestation. But we want to scale. We want to take this bigger. We want to make our school massive. We want to make this school the blueprint for America. So take a walk with us as we show you the new 5-year plan to scale our vision. Back in 2022, many of you saw me live on the roof of our school for 2 months in the blazing heat to raise $1 million. Now we're gonna raise $10 million, but it's gonna cost us 200 miles. And I'm personally gonna walk those 200 miles from the city of Albany, Georgia, all the way to Atlanta, Georgia, in order to scale our vision. So let me show you what we're gonna do with $10 million. So one of the first things we thought about for our school was, where did we make mistakes? How did we go wrong? And one of the things we didn't think about was generating revenue for our school. Our school for the past 5 years has been running exclusively off of donations. So we decided to conduct a study for this neighborhood, and we also acquired this building. What do we plan to do with this building? We plan to open a laundromat. This laundromat could service this entire area. We did a study, and there's no laundromat within a 3 to 4 mile radius. And many of these homes out here do not have a washer and dryer, so many people are hand washing their clothes. So we wanted to create something mutually beneficial for this neighborhood. It would benefit us as well as benefit our school, provide jobs for single parents, and also provide some jobs for our students, because we believe in work. We have to be able to take care of our students, get them haircuts, take care of them, get them food, etc. And revenue is one of those ways that we're going to be able to do that. Growing up, my mom did foster care my entire life. She was a foster parent for as long as I can remember. And I always said growing up, as I heard so many stories about the horrors happening in group homes with all these foster children, I knew that I wanted to do something about it as I got older. Behind me is my boyhood home. This is where I grew up here in Albany on South Street. And we want to turn this into a group home for boys. Not only will this be a group home, this will be a safe haven, a way for our students to get away and learn, a way for our students to become a man, and a way for our students to get what they've been yearning for in life. We want to take time with this group home to not only generate revenue for our school, but also allow these boys to attend the school and get everything that they need. So many boys are being mistreated in these group homes, and we want to do something about it. So right now at our current school building, we focused on a lot of different things that have happened here, a lot of negative things, but we want to go into the positive. Yes, we've been vandalized, yes, things have happened, but we want to turn this now into a multi-purpose space, a space that'll generate revenue for us, that'll provide jobs again for the families of our students, and provide jobs for our students themselves. We want to turn this into a photo shoot space, podcasting space. People could rent out our church. People could rent out our gym, our basketball gym, our cafeteria, etc. We have many different things that people could do at our school because it's a big space. It's 41,000 square feet, and there's endless opportunities for people here to be able to do something with it. This is one of the big ideas we have for our current school building right now. So back in 2021, we purchased 40 acres of land here in our hometown.
And some people like to say dream big, but I like to dream massive, because what's too big for God? So on this 40 acres, we want to build what will be the new Life Preparatory School for Boys campus. Not only do we want to build a campus here, we also want to build housing for our students on this same campus, because we want one singular area for our students to be able to call their safe haven. We're going to need your help. We're going to need you to like, share, comment, donate, visit thexforboys.org, send an email, send a text, call a friend, and tell them about the good work that's going on here in the city of Albany. We want to become the blueprint for what schooling should look like here in the USA. We want to become the blueprint for what boys should be learning and how to become masculine young men. So again, we need your help to make this happen. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.